Today is Wednesday, April 7th. This is our 2021. It's the 2020 AGM, I guess. This is our end of 2020. Did everyone have a chance to take a look at the agenda? Is there any questions, concerns? Nothing? Okay, a motion to accept the agenda then, if everybody's had a time to look at it. Okay, Dustin and Bert. And if anybody finds themselves in any kind of trouble as we move along, but I can't imagine that you will, but you might, just holler out if you find yourself in any kind of pecuniary trouble. All right, approval of the minutes. Did everyone have a chance to look at March 3rd's minutes? No additions, questions, concerns, changes, nothing for Trish? All right, a mover and a seconder for the minutes from the March 3rd. Heather, pick one, you two at the top row. I'm going to pick Dustin. Okay, there you go. You don't put your hand up. I'm going to be like the teacher and I'm going to call on you. Okay. All right. Trish, if you can share your screen for me, we're just going to do a very short highlights for anyone that's watching us live. Unfortunately, we didn't get anybody. This year, people are zoomed out, Zoom meetinged out. They've had enough. The novelty's worn off. Okay. Trish made this. I take no credit for this whatsoever. Lovely slide presentation other than a few suggestions. Trish made this for me. So we're going to just run through a few things that we did this year. Unfortunately, the announcement this afternoon is not what all of us, as we're meeting as a BIA, it's not what we all wanted to hear. Personally, I am happy that the playing field was leveled just a little bit more for us small businesses, giving us a little bit more of a fighting chance. Now you need to buy some light bulbs. You're not going to be able to do it necessarily at a big box store. You're going to have to go to your small business area to do it. And I think that's great. Hopefully this is it. If anybody watched the announcement this afternoon, you can see the decision makers' frustration. But it is what it is. We're here. We've survived a year. We have almost all our businesses still running and going downtown. We're all doing okay, I think. So, first slide, Trish. All right, sidewalk and patio cafe guidelines. Okay, so last year we had some interest from the downtown restaurants and when we could have outdoor dining for council to lessen the financial burden on them and just lessen the amount of our patio and sidewalk costs. And council decided to take away that fee, period. And I'm really happy to say that it was very well utilized by our downtown restaurants and appreciated. And so last night at council, we voted to do it again. So that's great. This year we are going to enact the same patio bylaws and no fees. Now, Jeff Brick is going to touch on that when it comes to his section in a little bit. But it was very well utilized. I saw lots of people out in front of the restaurants using it, and I'm very glad that it was unanimous. There's no decisions whatsoever to make. Council decided that they will just move ahead with the no cost again this year. Now, they still have to follow the rules, and Jeff's going to touch on that when we get a little farther in. You can't buy happiness, but you can buy local. That is our Shop Local campaign. So far, so good. We tried a few different Shop Local things. We've tried some of it sort of spilling into 2021, but some plans that we've done with our photos and our advertising in the paper and a few the mail out, and now spilling into 2021 with our concerts and our videos. I think that we're well on our way to a great Shop Local campaign that I hope will stick around and we can continue to add to. Next, thank you. The window display contest. Again, another new little venture that with the help of Trish is slow to get the wheels off the ground, but it's starting. It's starting to build some momentum. And I think the businesses were quite happy. They were given, if I'm wrong, but in Trish, $50. The winning business was given $50 in BIA dollars to do a personal draw inside their business for. So And again, it was a bit slow started, but it's starting to really catch on, and the wheels are really starting to turn, and people are getting into it and getting excited. So I hope that this is something we carry on, not just a COVID contest. And next. And the Find the Gnome, that was a big one. We had a lot of enthusiasm for the BIA Find the Gnome. We gave away a lot of money. Trish, how much money did we give away?
The $50 per week
Yes.
per gnome for a total of $750.
And then what did we give away at the end? Was another 100?
200.
200 for the final end. So something again that really helped our Shop Local campaign. We got a lot of enthusiasm behind it, and I've already had people asking me if we're going to do it again. So just some of our initiatives. We had to do that word pivot. We had to pivot this year and see what we could do to help launch our Shop Local campaign. And I think we're well on our way. Was there any questions about any of that? Anything that we forgot that we did in 2020? No? Okay, then we are going to turn it over to Trish, and she's going to dive a little bit more into some of the financials and her work plan.
Perfect, thank you. So again, I'm just going to do a brief overview of 2020 as Sherry just did, and then go into the 2021 plan for us all. So I'm going to give some background and statistics. So I did this last AGM as well. The BIA coordinator myself was hired in July of 2018 to work 7 to 10 hours per week. And that's about average. Some weeks are a bit slower than others, but during some peaks of COVID, it was maxing out at 10. So I left the statistic in from July 2018 showing what the likes and followers were on the BIA page. And then in March of 2020, we had increased to 815 likes and 823 followers. And now as of today's number is our followers. So again, 75% of our followers are women, 22% are men. And again, we're kind of peaking at that 35 to 44 age range for our followers. And then on the right, I have the people that we've reached. So these are the number of people that who had any content from our page or about the page, again, by gender and age. And then in the bottom left, there's the people engaged again as well by women and men. And then the percentage actually of people that talk about our page is in the 55 to 64 dove into before. So 2020 work plan review. So again, on the left-hand side, I've kept the administration items. So these are the things that I do on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. The only thing that I added at the bottom was the letter or gifts of acknowledgement because we had set up the condolence policy. Things I'll touch on is the new items. So in I think it was the spring of 2020, the municipality received a donation of masks, and businesses that were open at that time, I went around to them and they got a pack of 10 masks given to them. So that was a nice initiative. Like Sherry touched on, the sidewalk and cafe bylaw was amended in June of 2020. And then I think I started in about March when everything kind of shut down. I started to do the business directory, which there's a picture here in the bottom left. On our website under your downtown BIA businesses, there's a blue button right above right above the list of our directory. And if you click that button, it opens up a PDF that lists all of our BIA members and associate members. I believe I have their address, phone number, and then the status of what their business is, open, closed, curbside. So that actually hasn't been updated since the last lockdown, to be honest. So I think that things are kind of status quo, but with today's news, it sounds like I'm going to have to do a pretty big update with things moving to curbside. And then an ongoing piece is the COVID newsletters. So those really ramped up last year. We were averaging maybe 1 or 2 a month, and it went from 1 to 4, depending on what came out that was COVID related that I needed to pass on. Into marketing. So we didn't do our annual feedback survey because we had talked about a lot of the businesses probably had survey COVID fatigue. So we skipped that. We did do more shop local campaigns that Sherry touched on. The BIA Bucks program started in October and was actually extended for people to spend them until the end of February of 2021. The business spotlight has been something we've pivoted into 2021 as well. And then at the bottom, the new COVID updates. So a lot of updates were shared on our Facebook page in the newsletter from West Perth, HPPH, and the government, again, on COVID. And then the shop local flyer that Sherry had mentioned, we sent out 3,240, and that went to all apartments, houses, businesses, and farms in West Perth. So, and I think we actually did hit Kirkton and Woodham. I think we did that as well because they were pretty close to us. So, so that was our marketing. And then events and education, we had hoped to do music in the park, the Christmas street party, fire safety and theft prevention, cybersecurity, and AODA standards. None of that happened due to COVID. Again, with the restrictions that were in place during the timing in the summer, it would be very difficult to enforce those COVID restrictions. So we ended up having to first postpone our June performers to July and then cancel everything altogether. But then we did do a couple new events, which was the window display contest. We had lots of hype at Christmas with it, which was fantastic. And the BIA gnomes that Sherry touched on. So again, those were some great campaigns that we were able to pivot for 2020. And then the 2021 work plan. So again, the administration side is everything that still sort of sits status quo. Under membership, we already have produced and enacted the condolence policy, and that's posted on our website for anybody that would like to take a look at it. Instead of creating a brochure for the BIA members, letting them know what the BIA is about, what are their incentives to join as an associate, what do our downtown members get for discounts or incentives, instead of making a brochure and taking that door to door or handing a new welcome package, we're just going to pivot to moving everything onto our website. I think it's just best to utilize the resource that we have, and there's already lots of information on there. So again, that's an ongoing project of, I always have new ideas of stuff to clean up and add and remove. So that's something we'll keep moving on. Just a reminder, we still have our insurance discount program with Zara Insurance. So BIA members save 10%. So if you are an employee or a business owner, don't forget to take them up on that 10% discount. And then kind of new for 2021 is to see about more member-to-member discounts, like a referral program, as well as our Seniors Day program as well. And then attracting more associate members and membership attendance at meetings. Attracting more associates doesn't seem to be an issue. I think as we do more and more promoting of stuff on Facebook and word of mouth, that these associates are just coming to us and asking to join, which is fantastic. And then membership attendance at meetings. I mean, we can't force people to come, but we can keep encouraging people to come and have their voice heard. And then marketing. So again, if we choose to do a feedback survey in the near future, we can. Otherwise, we've got more shop local campaigns coming. The BIA Bucks program is going to be discussed again this year. Some social-based events, spotlighting businesses, and new would be the drone footage that we've obtained for our concerts. And then lastly, events and education. So new this year is the virtual concerts. So we've already held one in February and one in April. Our February concert peaked at 170 people, and our April concert peaked at 145, I believe it was. So down a little bit, but very well received anyways. I still have to do the draw for the BIA Bucks winner. And then we're amping up the window display contest. So we're doing 6 this year. So every other month we're going to have a contest, keep that momentum going. It is fun. It kind of decorates the downtown. And then we're hopeful, but maybe not, for a spring, not necessarily a street party. I know Sherry spoke last month about pivoting to more of like a sidewalk sale, get businesses to put stuff out on their sidewalks, and we'll just have like a day of sales and that sort of thing. hopefully we can do music in the park, hoping for a ladies' night, Christmas street party. Definitely get the Find the BIA gnomes back out there again. And then I put the theft prevention, cybersecurity, AODA standards as a TBD because, again, if people have the COVID fatigue from surveys, we might not be doing much online training. So those are just options that might be there if we choose to do them. So that is it for that presentation. Is there any questions on 2020 work plan, 2021 work plan?
Nope, I think you covered it very nicely. I just lost my agenda here.
Oops, sorry.
No, that's okay. There we go. So if there's nothing for Trish, we'll just keep on rolling, see what happens in 28 days, see what we can do in May. I mean, if we move our May plans to June, we move our May plans to June, you know, for sidewalk sales or whatever, right? We're learning to move on the fly here. Okay.
Exactly.
Where are we now? Sorry, guys, I lost my train of thought. County of Perth, Ashley.
Hi, everyone. I'll just wait for Trish to share my screen or her screen. Awesome. Thank you. So I just wanted to take this opportunity to provide an update on the efforts that Perth County's Tourism and Economic Development Division has been undertaking to support businesses throughout the COVID-19 pandemic, and also highlight some key initiatives that we'll be undertaking throughout 2021 to continue to support them through the pandemic and as we go towards economic recovery. Next slide. Most of you probably know our team at the county, but Meredith Frigette is the Manager of Economic Development and Tourism. She's currently on leave until this September. So we have Justin Diaz on as the current Manager of Economic Development and Tourism. We have Sarah Franklin, who's our Economic Development and Communications Officer. Then there's myself, the Tourism Officer for the county, and Maggie Martin, our Transit Project Coordinator. Next. So here you'll see the wide range of services that the Economic Development and Tourism Division delivers beyond what might be traditionally thought of as ECDev and tourism. So we support the county in corporate communications, community development engagement, community transportation, and other initiatives. Our activities are ultimately aimed at creating a business environment that will enable businesses in our region to expand and to prosper. Next. So in 2021, what our team and many others in economic development and tourism have deemed the year of the pivot, we focused our energy on a few key areas. For surveying and gathering data, data supports and strengthens advocacy and program development in our COVID response. Every pivot we made was driven by the needs we were hearing from local businesses, whether that be heard through surveys or through direct phone calls to businesses. Providing resources was also a focus, which involved sharing information with our business community, and this continues to be a huge function. There was and continues to be a lot of information coming at businesses, so our role is to help distill and share what's most relevant and what's most useful. As for marketing campaigns, many were deployed to support businesses through the various stages of lockdowns, restrictions, reopenings, re-lockdowns, etc. Our focus is on driving local spending and shop local campaigns. And as we noticed spending migrating online with people spending more time at home, it was more important than ever to provide those compelling reasons for individuals to keep their spending dollars local in our Perth County communities. We also offered several training programs, both through the county and in partnership with local business support centers. Training was offered to help businesses get online, develop social media, develop e-commerce, etc. This became even more prominent and was greatly assisted as we onboarded our digital service squad members. Business outreach has been key over the last year. Ongoing communication with business owners and staff has complemented our survey efforts and allowed us to get stories behind the data we are collecting, uncover gaps, and better understand what's actually happening at the ground level. Lastly, connecting businesses with funding sources has probably been one of our most important roles over the last year. This role took many different forms as many different programs were available. So it included connecting businesses with the Stratford Purse Center for Business Loans, connecting them with provincial grants such as Digital Main Street and the Ontario Small Business Support, RTO4 Tourism Adaptation Grant, RTO4 Technology Grant, and more. We were able to help many businesses across the county connect with this available funding. And while the county itself did not offer direct assistance grants, we were able to help offset costs for businesses in the form of PPE support kits, which helped reduce businesses out-of-pocket expenses and keep cash in their accounts. For this, we utilized local suppliers and purchased local gift cards for various support campaigns that sent money directly into the hands of business owners. Next slide. I've included a few examples of resources and initiatives we delivered over 2020 as well as into 2021. Hopefully you're familiar with some of these through various social media platforms, our website, or through previous updates that I may have given at the BIA or elsewhere. And I will note our third business impact survey is currently live as we continue to seek input from local businesses to continue monitoring the ongoing impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic. This input really helps us to track the impact locally and advocate on behalf of businesses to the provincial and federal government. Their survey can be found on our website and our social media channels. Following this afternoon's announcement from the province, gathering this data is now more important than ever to help us best support our business community through this shutdown and into the future. Next slide. Here I've included some examples of our marketing and outreach campaigns, which continue on into the next slide. Next. These marketing campaigns have had an impact on boosting business morale, as well as a major economic impact. One example is our traveling deal wheel, which did win an honorable mention at this year's EDCO Awards. This initiative injected some fun into the community during a time that was pretty difficult for business owners, but also helped drive tourism spending in the summer and fall. From this program, we heard real examples of visitors who had spun the wheel, won a prize, and because of that, later on returned to the county, and it was a catalyst for a full day of shopping and local activities. Another example is the Take the Pledge campaign we ran just prior to Christmas. This initiative encouraged residents to pledge to spend at least 70% of their holiday shopping locally for a chance to win a Perth County shopping spree. So we figured with the average Canadian spending around $1,100 total on holiday purchases and 566 residents taking the pledge, we can extrapolate an economic impact of over $430,000 in local spending from this campaign. This is just a couple examples of how these seemingly fun, energetic campaigns help drive real economic impact and help keep spending local. Next slide. Moving to some 2021 highlights. As we continue to support businesses throughout COVID and recovery, I want to highlight a few of these initiatives. First, we have PC Connect, our transportation system. It continues to operate for essential travel only during this time, but we are happy that ridership continues to follow a positive trend since launching in November, despite the challenges of lockdowns. Our digital service squad has had a program extension, so we have a new digital service squad member in place to support our Perth County businesses. To date, we've been able to assist over 60 businesses with services such as Google My Business, e-commerce assistance and referrals, and social media expertise. We've also helped 6 businesses across the county access a total of $15,000 in digital transformation grants. Staff are hard at work on the Discover More Flavor Farm Gate map, which will launch during Local Food Week this June. This launch includes a brand new map that will be mailed direct to local households, a new user-friendly webpage, signage identifying each participating farm gate from the road, a custom Google map that provides easy driving directions, and many more exciting elements. Lastly, I have the Tourism Adaption Grant, which we helped to administer with RTO4. It supported a number of local businesses in accessing funding for recovery projects. RTO4 is in the process of contacting and putting agreements in place with the successful businesses, and we're hopeful that a public announcement on who those businesses are can be made in the coming weeks. Next. This is just a few more 2021 program highlights, including our Workforce Engagement and Attraction Project, which is all about bringing and keeping a workforce
Looks like Ashley froze.
I wasn't sure if it was me or if it was Ashley.
Yeah, I think it's Ashley. She froze in a rather, when I freeze, I don't look nearly as friendly.
I know.
So we can just give her a moment and see if she comes back.
If not, we will jump ahead to you and then we'll break back to her if we need to.
Sure.
She just texted me and said that her computer went black. Give her 2 minutes.
Okay, so let's, in order to keep things going, we'll maybe wait a minute or two, and if not, we'll have Jeff move ahead.
It's bad enough having to follow Ashley with all the details she's given, let alone have her go before me and after me.
Right?
Impressive list of projects.
No kidding.
Does anybody have any feedback on the digital concert that we just did the other night?
BIA coordinator,
Oh,
did you have any messages to the Facebook page, any emails?
no, I did have some people reach out that said that they really liked the performers again, and the business commercials were just like one step better than last time, which I thought was really fun. So they were what I was envisioning. So Dustin, oh, I still have the camera off, sorry. I'm very happy with how Dustin pulled it together, because I said, this is what I envision, and he just made it come to life. So,
okay.
Yeah.
And
I know I'm a silent person usually, but I really enjoyed the concert. We loved it.
good, great,
Awesome.
because Dustin's going to kill me when I say, I think I got another one planned.
So Ashley's back, everyone, if
Okay.
you want to go back
All
to
right, I
Ashley.
was just filling time.
Perfect.
Yeah, no, it was
I am
great.
so sorry about that, everyone. My computer decided to shut down mid-presentation,
All good.
but I'll just pick up right where I left off, which I'm not sure what you guys all heard, but I'll start with the workforce engagement. So this project looks to keep our workforce and youth in the region. Next, we have the Discover More Experiences tourism program. So ongoing research has indicated that those more meaningful experiences and memorable moments are what travelers are really looking for, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic. People are hoping to get away from those mass attractions and do something more immersive. So following that trend, we're working with an experiential tourism specialist and directly with a handful of businesses to help build those offerings so we can have that as an option for right now residents to get out and explore, and in the future to welcome travelers to come to the county and try those things. Sorry. Our tourism initiatives continue to have a hyper-local focus, and this is going to include our Discover More brochure for this year. So our marketing initiatives and other programming are going to have a very explore your own backyard staycation feel, on trend with what is being recommended right now for travel plans. The Perth County CIP is what we hope can be a catalyst for post-COVID development. The CIP would provide incentives for businesses to develop, improve their property, continue to pivot, and continue to innovate in 2021. Last, our foreign direct investment efforts have gone virtual this year. So we are continuing to meet with companies that are looking to locate to Ontario and trying to match them with current and upcoming sites across the county through virtual means this year and going forward. Next slide. Finally, in terms of community engagement and advocacy, we have engagement for the Perth County Equity, Inclusion, and Anti-Racism Charter. It is now live on our website. You can find it at perthcounty.ca/charter, where anyone can complete a survey or registered for a facilitated roundtable. Those who are unable to attend a session, we are encouraging them to complete a survey or complete the form on our website if they have an interest in participating in any form during this process. As I mentioned earlier, we have launched a third COVID survey to help us understand the current issues at this stage of the pandemic and going forward. And we continue to be responsive to sectors that are maybe slipping through the cracks and advocating with every opportunity we get at the provincial and federal level. Next. So just some positivity. I wanted to include that Perth County is an incredible region with world-class sites, tastes, and experiences. The last year has proven that we are a resilient region, and we look forward to continuing to responsibly and creatively build, promote, and enhance our rural region in 2021. Next. So here I just encourage you all to make sure you're following us on social media to stay up to date on all of our ongoing programs and resources. And I would welcome any questions at this time. Awesome. Thanks so much, everyone.
Thank you. No, you covered that very well. There was no need for questions. You covered it fantastic. Good work, guys. You've been busy. Okay, Jeff Brick.
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to share my screen and away we go. Hopefully you can see the BIA AGM virtual meeting. Thumbs up. Yep, good. Thank you. I'm going to jump right into it. I've got a number of updates that I want to give about what the municipality is up to. And I almost always, when people engage me in a conversation about what we're doing in Mitchell, housing is invariably the first thing that comes up. We are, municipalities can't be the leads or the proponents of development as a general rule, but we can certainly enable it. And we've really been doing our best to enable development over the last 3 or 4 years to really encourage a variety and a mix of housing types, and to ensure that we've got land coming online. We weren't anticipating this this kind of bubble that's been created by COVID. We certainly knew that our housing numbers would climb, and we figured they would climb steadily over about 10 years. And my observation would be that I think the COVID effect has really compressed that into almost a year or a year and a half type thing, what we would have thought to see in 10 years. So a big challenge to respond to. We do have 12 housing developments that are currently underway at various stages of approval, a nice mix of stock, everything from vacant land condominiums through to apartments and everything in between, including singles and semis. We've got, and I think the really encouraging thing is we have a number of pre-consultations for additional projects that have taken place just over the last 2 to 3 months. We have some properties that we certainly weren't anticipating would come to the market for quite some time that appear to be getting lined up to submit applications and bring more lot stock. And we're always going to encourage a variety in that lot stock. This map is available in the Economic Development newsletter, and it just shows a distribution of a number of housing projects around the community. And I'm really encouraged by this map because it really does show a nice distribution, everything from infills to greenfields. And it's you know, some new streets being built, a very nice mix of what we've got coming online to support the community. This same, again, and I'm going to provide a link to the Economic Development newsletter later in the later in this presentation, but this is this table which talks about the development name, the common name for the development, and also the number of units and the type of units being proposed. This table is in that Economic Development newsletter. So lots of great news on the housing front. I think the only discouraging news is that the prices have sort of grown at a rate that we question whether that's sustainable, but the market dictates these things. And certainly folks that had development that they could bring online are celebrating and very good housing prices, but to sell, but we worry about buyers and affordability. I want to move next to talk about the Heron Business Park. The municipality owns 59 acres of serviced industrial land in southeast Mitchell, and I think this is relevant to the BIA a lot like housing, that if we have a place for people to live in Mitchell and we have a place for people to work in Mitchell, our Mitchell businesses are going to be more successful. And I think the goal really for the municipality is not only have a good mix of housing, but also we want to have a good industrial land base so that we have job creators in the community and we can maintain our position of having more people drive into Mitchell to work than drive out. And I think that's a really desirable place to be in as a municipality. Last year with the Heron Business Park, we had one parcel that we were able to sell, and we really aren't actively promoting the park because we're still in the process of servicing, and stormwater servicing is the part that is the last piece of the puzzle. It's a bit complicated to get done because it requires us to have a partnership with our neighbor to the east, but that's the best way to do it, and we want to see them be successful and us be successful with them. So we did sell the one parcel to Hogslat Inc. and Hogslat bought this land. It's at the corner of Frank Street and Water Street across from Safina. And we have the remainder of the business park ready to go. And we really hope to be getting servicing underway next spring so we can start to actively promote these lots. And we feel that there'll be some good uptake when we get them going. This is just a quick shot of what the park looks like, and the municipality owns 25 acres south of Frank Street. We own 24 acres north of Frank Street, which will in the future be serviced by a road. And we own this 10 acres that's also north of Frank Street, and Hogslat owns this area roughly where I'm showing. A couple of other quick projects I want to highlight. The EV charging station, we've talked about it lots, and I keep updating that it's coming. So the message from just today is that the station is now active and drivers are able to charge. So Erie Thames Power has actually installed this station at their cost. They're paying for the install, they're paying for the cost of the equipment, and they also will be collecting money ultimately when they charge for it. In the short term, they're going to do a soft launch on it, so people will be able to charge for free for a while. And so those chargers are, as I said, active today. They anticipate until the end of May that you'll be able to pull up to it and charge. This isn't the actual unit we have, but the one we have looks very much like this one. They will be planning media leading up to the end of May, and then at that time, electric vehicle drivers will be charged a modest rate, and they're thinking somewhere between $1.50 and $3 per charge. So a really good rate. And I want to mention, if anyone downtown's hearing any concerns, the site, if you recall, is at the corner of St. David Street and Ontario Road. Earth was in there yesterday and today doing some remediation work. Now that the winter is out and the frost out of the ground, they're reestablishing the topsoil and the boulevard where they did the work, and the signage will need to go up, and the municipality will have to pass a bylaw restricting the use of those spaces to electric vehicles that are charging. But this is a really nice addition for the downtown. It's at the east end of the downtown and as you head towards Stratford, but we will get this on a map, and it will be the kind of thing that people come for a destination, and then hopefully we'll park and hook onto the charger and go and explore our downtown. The municipality in 2020 completed the Henry Street Bridge project, which is a very significant transportation and servicing project for the municipality of West Perth and the community of Mitchell. The bridge is now fully operational. We're meeting tomorrow with the Conservation Authority to work on the process of bringing the reservoir back up, because we did not operate the Mitchell Dam to bring the reservoir up the last 2 years. The intent, and certainly the municipal plan, is to operate the reservoir as normal in 2021, I should say. However, we are a little bit concerned about the amount of vegetation growth, and we're just trying to come up with a plan about how we're going to manage the reservoir if it starts to have too much decay in the existing vegetation, and how we'll run the operating season for the next couple of years to accommodate that. West Perth built a new municipal West Perth Fire Station in 2020. The project is substantially complete. The bell is now ringing, the clock is running, the light set is on the clock so it lights up at night. Project is on schedule and on time. We just want to do the final top coat of asphalt this spring when the conditions are right and the asphalt plant's open, and we've got a little bit of landscaping to clean up, and this project will be complete. And then that moves me into the project that we're planning next to the fire hall. So also facing the Wellington Street frontage, the municipality has been looking at the options of renovating or building a new municipal office. The decision was made by municipal council in December that we would pursue the build new option. That was a reaffirmation of a decision that was made a number of years ago. And one of the things council and the working group on the municipal office really wanted to get was good public input. So we held 2 in-person open houses on March 30th, which were pretty well attended. And it's kind of amazing that we fit that in between enhanced lockdown and lockdown, stay-at-home orders. We also held a virtual open house on March the 31st. And I'm just going to steal a couple slides from Darcy Cook. Darcy shared some feedback that we received at the open houses last night, and we had 4 options that we were asking the community to vote on in terms of which option they preferred for a facade. And so I'm going to highlight this slide because it gives you an indication of we had 8 people vote at the 5 p.m. session on March the 30th, and 50% of them picked facade A, which is the if you're wondering where I'm going with this, facade A was the successful one, and that was the one I showed you, and I'll highlight it again at the end. We didn't receive any written comments at the open house, but we received lots online later, which I'll talk about. Then for the 7 p.m. session that night, we had 22 votes. And I should mention for the 5 p.m. session, we had more than 8 there. It's just people chose to vote at home rather than voting at the site. And so in the evening session, we had almost 60% of people preferred facade A out of those 22 votes that we received, and the other facades had varying levels of success lower than that. And then we did a virtual public open house at 7 p.m. on March 31st, and then actively promoted the designs online, and we actively encouraged people to get on the survey and provide us with some comments and select the design that they liked best. And as a result of all of the voting. We had 141 that submitted virtual and public. And when we roll everything up, the average was about 55% in total was supporting facade A. So the other three facade choices were under 20%, with facade choice C being almost 20%, but there was a definitive public preference for facade A. And I just want to show, again, this is what facade A looks like, facing Wellington Street. We're going to have to figure out how far back from the street face it is, because we have to determine parking. But this 3D profile shows it sort of faced up almost equal with the fire hall. I suspect we may move it back 30 or 40 feet to give us a little more parking space in the front and to just adapt it to the site better. And the big update is last night at council, a report was presented and council passed a resolution to proceed to the detailed design stage using option A for the facade. And the important thing about that is that we will try to get the detailed design done in the next 6 weeks. There's a lot of engineering work to design this. That'll give us detailed tender ready drawings, at which point in time, if council approves, we will go to tender. And the hope would be that we are shovel in the ground as early as August, depending on those tender results for construction tenders, or if we find that construction prices are still suffering from supply chain problems, we may choose to push the construction back a bit, although we have a grant that we can use that might offset that impact of extra cost if we go sooner. Just two last little quick things. I want to mention that the Economic Development Committee, which is kind of a sister committee to BIA, slightly different structure and mandate, of course, but really provides the municipality with good advice and a great sounding board for economic development activities in the county and in West Perth. And it involves a lot of what Ashley just spoke about, the county supporting us immensely with economic development, especially as we go through all this change. The Economic Development Committee issued a newsletter this year, and at first I thought I didn't want to really do it because I was afraid we'd have to do it every year. And it certainly was a lot of work, but it actually is a wonderful tool for communicating. It demonstrates that some people still really like to get it in paper. And it really, I think, was absolutely worth the effort. I think the committee is very proud of it. So I want to just mention to this group that the newsletter can be accessed online at the economic development page of our West Perth website, or you can request it without a D, as I made a spelling error there, but you can request it by contacting the office and we could send it out to you. We have a few paper copies left, and this newsletter will have sort of a 6-month shelf life. So if you have anyone you think would be interested in seeing it, perusing it, anyone that is interested in our community, please ask and we'll mail them to them, because we want to get them into people's hands. I think we have about 50 or 60 left. And finally, I just want to wrap up by saying, the municipality has every intention of continuing to support the BIA and in general terms, and certainly we see the health of the downtown of Mitchell is a very important element of the health of West Perth. We really appreciate that the Mitchell BIA reaches out to associate members and does allow some involvement from others, and we appreciate the economic activity that the BIA and the supporting activities that BIA provides for downtown merchants generate for our community. And Sherry did mention that sidewalk and cafe bylaws were discussed at council last night. I want to remind all of the BIA members and anyone who wants to make eye contact with me, I'll tell you that our bylaws are still in place. So we still require you merchants and people that want to run patios to obtain permission, but we've taken actions to provide fee exemptions and waive deposits to just kind of smooth the path for success as we get the opportunity to hopefully pivot back to street access. And through that process, we're protecting the municipality, but we also really want to protect the business by ensuring that we've got liability insurance in place and that that everybody can safely experience the area. So you can look forward to that again this year. And I'm happy to take any questions. What I'll do is I will unshare my screen if I can remember how to. So I'll stop my share and answer questions if there are any.
Does anyone have one? I'll go last. I have two. Okay, my question is, with the EV charging station, I know we need to get a bylaw in place, if I'm not incorrect, for parking. Right now, there's a concern because the people that live in that area are parking in front of the EV station on a daily basis. And I know at council level, we probably need a bylaw yet. And how will it be enforced? And what direction are we going with enforcement as far as the neighboring people parking right in front of the EV station?
Certainly. So, you know, that's a street level parking space. So I'm not going to apologize to anyone for using it to benefit the whole community. It is a street level parking space. And I think there's been some criticism about taking out those spaces, but I think they're ideally located in terms of their proximity to businesses in the downtown without taking away street parking from any particular business. It's just the way that parking works in that area. This is a good spot. Yes, there will be a sign go up that will indicate the specific use of the parking that can be put there. It will be a bylaw, and I think we'll enforce it like every other one of our bylaws, where we really start with education and then we move on to other levels of enforcement as appropriate. And that's going to require some communication, but if anyone's been following the media, EV charging stations and the availability of EV vehicles is, I think, something that's rapidly changing. I think we're really going to be feeling very good about having this charging station as it gets onto the Southwestern Ontario EV charging map. And it will serve as an attraction to our downtown.
And
I thought you were going to ask me too. Yeah, good.
Yeah, I was just, all of a sudden I had a blonde moment and couldn't find my mute button. I thought one of you guys got rid of it on me. Like, oh, not gonna let me talk anymore. My second question is, I just wanted some clarity, and maybe what we'll do here is direct Trish to get that clarity and send it out to everyone. When we talk about the sidewalk cafe bylaw, it's not just cafes, right, Jeff? If we could just clarify that it's also tents, big turntables, skids of product, any of that, you do need to do your permissions. I just thought maybe we'll clarify that. And Trish, if you don't mind, maybe you can find that bylaw and that link and we can send it out.
Yeah, and certainly, I mean, we want to enable vendors to get their product on the street, especially under the circumstances that we're under. I think it's more important than ever, and we want to see people be successful, but the bylaw approval is still required. And again, I would really emphasize that, you know, people sometimes feel that's bureaucracy, but I think it's really important to ensure that we have a safe passage for community, and we want to see liability properly considered. And by adhering to the bylaw, we can be the most help to our merchants in the downtown to ensure that they are thinking of all the requirements that they should be thinking of to make it a safe public space.
So Trish, if that's okay with you, we'll get you to add that to the next newsletter or the next mail out, and maybe we can send it out that way. I did look around really briefly on the website to try to find a specific piece of it, but I kind of ran out of time, so I'll leave that with you.
Yeah,
okay.
I think it'll be in the bylaws section, but we'll help
somewhere.
Trish get it. Yep. Yep.
Okay. All right. Any other questions for Jeff? Everybody is pretty straightforward. Yeah. You know what? We've done all right. Like I said, we've done more than just survive. We've pushed forward on some really good initiatives.
Yeah, just can I make one final comment to the chair?
Yeah,
And I really want to compliment the BIA, and I've made a point of complimenting staff and the municipality and council that, and you know, the county deserves this credit too, that all of us, I think, have really worked hard to not have the, you know, 2020 and 2021 define us as COVID only. I think you see the municipal projects that have pushed ahead. We didn't set projects aside. I think the municipality really and council really took the position that it was an important measure to keep investing. We had planned to invest. We didn't sort of inject extra money into that economy because the money has to come from somewhere, but we did continue with the investments we had planned. And I think, you know, I think we all deserve credit for not being defined by COVID, but sort of succeeding in spite of it. So, and I just want to mention that I think the county and the BIA deserve a lot of credit for that.
Well, we're pushing forward, I think. Everybody, we've got a pretty dedicated board. I think the majority of us are fairly dedicated. All right, 2019 financial statements. You did touch on it very briefly, Trish, but let's move into that and the budget approval.
Sure. So for 2019 financial statements, I have nothing to approve tonight. 2019 wasn't closed at the time it normally would be. So council just seen the draft versions of the financial statements last night. So I anticipate maybe in the next month, we should have the one with the draft watermark removed. So I don't believe it's an issue to approve it in May if it comes down to that. But if that changes, I'll keep everybody in the loop. If there's no questions about that, then I'll just jump right into the budget. Go through this kind of as quick as I can without too much. So in 2020, there has been quite a few number changes since you guys last seen this last month, because a bunch of GLs have been done and things have really been cleaned up and reallocated. So for 2020, I'll just run down this column quick. So the actuals came to a total revenue of $22,367. So that $2,200 is our associate member fees. And then in expenditures, the meeting expense was decreased a bit because some of the money that was, or some of the invoices that were allocated there actually were reallocated down to community involvement. So this number decreased. The office and miscellaneous line, it stayed the same. Oh no, sorry. It increased a little bit as well, again, because there was an allocation under, I think it was under meeting expense that should have gone under office miscellaneous. So that did increase a little bit. And then you'll see that the community involvement prior, like last month, I had reported that there was nothing spent there, and that has since increased. So that's, that would be our gnomes, the sympathy cards that were purchased. There was a couple of them. The $750 in BIA bucks that we gave away for the gnomes. And then a couple other expenses that I guess I don't really know the best way to explain it, but there was $265.49 that we prepaid a skating sponsorship in 2018 that never actually got allocated into our 2019 books. So because I was working with the finance department to kind of get everything cleaned up, that community involvement line now has that expense that should have been expensed in 2019. It's now been expensed in 2020. And then there was also $395.85 plus another $330.72 paid to B&V Enterprises for printing the BIA bucks over the last 2 years. That was previously recorded under this BIA bucks line. So you'll see that this has dropped a fair bit, and that was reallocated under community involvement. And then there was also $27.43 accounts receivable in, like, we honestly don't have any idea what the receivable was, but it's been sitting on your books since just before I started, I think 2017 or maybe 2018. So finance did that AR write-off today, and that was just expensed into community involvement. I'm hoping that's okay. I don't have an explanation for it. There's no notes in the general ledger. It's just something we were trying to clean up to get off the books. So I'm hoping those allocations are okay. And then this new BIA bucks number, so it has dropped a fair bit because, again, this line is to only represent the 10% that we as the BIA pay when people buy BIA bucks. So that number is a lot more in line with the BIA buck sales of $3,597. So that brings our deficit to $733.53 versus the previous $211.38 that I had recorded. And then these opening surplus numbers. So January 1st of 2020, we started at 32,617.16. 617.16. And then at the end, after we take off, sorry, there were two numbers that came out. Oh no, actually, sorry. So then the ending surplus of the 32,919.50 was taking out that 733.53, and now we're starting 2021 at the 32,919.50, and then the column on the left here, the 23, would be what we'll end up with in our surplus if we go above and beyond our expenses. So the only thing I need to highlight in the 2021 column that I changed was the membership fees. I increased it to $25.75 because of our 3 new memberships. So the previous calculation of $23.25 was not correct. So that's the only thing I changed in 2021. I would say if everybody's okay with this, then you could vote to pass the budget unless there are changes that you see because of adjustments that were made in 2020.
Anything? Any questions? Anything there jumping out at anybody? All right, well then, is there, just looking around, do you guys want to just approve?
Sorry, I do have a question. I
Yeah,
couldn't.
no, absolutely.
I'm just wondering what's in the technology with the $1,000 for technology. Is that our website and stuff?
So the technology was going to be the constant contact subscription we pay every year, which is around $400. My cell phone, which is about $20 a month, I believe. Okay. And then the Microsoft licenses for Sherry's chair email and then my email.
All right, good, thanks.
Yep.
Did we resolve that outstanding question a couple of meetings ago about the cost of Microsoft?
Jeff, do you want to touch on that one?
Yeah, sure. Try and turn my camera on. There we go. So we have business. So the answer to the question is the same as the answer I gave, that we do have a business license, and I can't remember what it's called, Business Elite or whatever, which is the license that we require for the account that Trish uses. And we have a sort of a light version because she has software licensing that goes with her laptop. So we're paying for email, but we're paying for software licensing. And then secondly, the one that the chair has is a light version. So it's quite a bit less money, like $9 a month, I think. And so we are working with Microwage to make sure we've got everyone on the right licensing package. And Microwage is our technology provider that facilitates those. And really, frankly, you get what you pay for in terms of the difference between the higher levels of Microsoft 365 and the light one. And we need it because we need the software. Yeah. Okay. I had something that came in my brain and then went right back out again. So maybe it'll come to me. All right. Do we just want to
pass, you need a motion for the 2020 budget, right?
2021, if the
I meant 2021. I'm
Okay.
just confusing for 2021 to start because I want 2020 to end. Feels like one long bad dream. Okay, so can I get a motion to accept the 2021, Bert, and seconder? Heather? Thank you. All in favor? 1, 2, 3. Perfect. All right, let's move forward from here.
Sorry, can I make just another note? So finance has noted they did do a bunch of GLs today. I guess I can unshare this, sorry. They did do a bunch of GLs today, which really helped clean up our numbers for 2020, which is great, but there's still a little bit more to do. I guess they're still working on a balance sheet of the accounts. So I don't think that's really going to affect our end number though. So we should be fine. And then I don't know, Heather, Sherry, do you want to touch base or sorry, do you want me to update on the $3,000? Sorry, you're muted. Oh, okay. All right. So
I'm having a heck of a time with my mute button. I don't know if it's my keypad here or what.
Okay. So there was a reimbursement that was done in the fall of last year via e-transfer for $3,000. The e-transfer, so it's for BIA bucks. So a business had submitted their BIA bucks for reimbursement. The e-transfer wasn't accepted. It sat there because the business didn't believe that it was theirs. So it sat there for a while. That what it did is it actually kicked back into our bank account because they never accepted it. So I've spoke with the business. They've gone through their books. They don't believe that the money is owing to them. So unfortunately, I don't really have an answer right now of what that looks like, except this money is just going to sit in our bank account as a liability in case that business or another business comes forward and says, hey, you owe us for our BIA bucks. I have had nobody come forward to say that they're missing money on reimbursements. So I'm not 100% sure where to take it from here, except it's sitting in our liability account for right now. If someone comes forward, they can have it if they can show proof that it's theirs.
Interesting.
If there's any questions on that, I can try and answer more.
Do we keep those BIA bucks that they could be counted again, just to?
Yeah, so I have the tote that Sherry and I did the draw from the other day. I still have it here. I was thinking about going through them and just maybe looking at names that might have been on the back that might trigger that potential $3,000.
Just count them, right? If you just count them, should you not be able to get a?
Few of them were kind of destroyed, and I think a few of them were in pieces and stuff, so it's not necessarily a full count. We did toss a couple out that were unreadable and in little bits and pieces, but not.
2,000 is like.
That's a lot of money.
30. What is it? 30 or is it 300?
300.
300. It's 300 tickets, right?
Yeah, so we're missing a couple, but the count would be close.
Yeah, I can count the tickets that we had, and again, that's all the tickets that have come in since the program started. So it would give you a good idea of what should have been reimbursed. I guess the question is if I do find that there is 3,000 extra there that we haven't reimbursed to a business, I don't know who it belongs to.
Yeah.
But we don't seem,
there should be record of that, right?
but we don't seem to be missing any money.
We're not missing money. The business says they're not missing money. Unfortunately, not every business filled out the redemption form, so that didn't help the process. So the form that I do have was filled out by the treasurer. And it gives information, but again, it's not proving to be this business's money. So
it's not like a duplicate or.
No.
I wondered if it was a duplicate as well. I wondered if it was accidentally sent a second time.
Potential.
That's.
You just have to sit on it and see what happens.
Yeah.
Maybe in 6 months, see what we have to do with it.
Okay. Yeah, it could just be an error on our part and maybe sent in duplicate, but yeah, it's just sitting there for now. So
Before we completely leave
Good
the
for us if
budget,
it's
Yep.
found.
Sorry?
no, finish off, Heather.
I say good for us if it's not found.
Yeah.
Can
Yeah.
I just add a note for the budget for somewhere in the next year? Because obviously we're running, it's good to eat up some of that reserve that we have, because we probably have too much sitting there. But if we actually run ahead and eat out $9,000 of that reserve, probably maybe not next year or this year, but next year we're gonna have to look at our income side, because if we're gonna keep spending at that level, obviously we're gonna have to look at upping the other side. Just a
Yeah.
note for future consideration.
Yeah, you don't want too much reserve, but you want enough reserve to run yourself for at
Yeah,
least a
so
year if you had no income.
if
So
we-
we keep it
It's
at
one of those,
that.
we may have to look at upping our income side for the future.
Something.
Something though for next year.
Okay. New business? Anything to add, speak? This is it. We're gonna close out 2020. All new and shiny in 2021. Okay, so if there's nothing to add, no last questions for Jeff or Trish or Ashley?
Can I, Sherry, can I just
Yeah.
mention that, just check the website, and if we go to the business tab of the website, and in the business tab, there's a section called permits and licenses. And that's the real key one for businesses in downtown. That business tab is actually your key tab. And so it has everything there from refreshment vehicle license to sidewalk, patio or cafe permit, merchandise displays, sign permits, special occasion permits. That's all in that section of the website. And so that's the one to direct folks to. So
Thank you, Jeff. I was gonna say that and then it went right.
Yep.
And remember I said during the budget, there was something I needed to tell you guys. That
Yep.
was it. That was it. Okay, perfect. But I think we will still, Trish, get you to pull that out, pull that piece out, and we'll send it in our next newsletter along with the great news that the fees are waived again this year and that we're here. But I think it just, for everyone, just reiterating the fact that our sidewalk bylaw is not just cafe. It's, tents, tables, skids, everything. We just want to make sure that we're all following the same straight line. Okay, if there's nothing else, motion to adjourn. Heather and Dustin, all in favor? Yay. 2020 is officially closed. And when are we doing